All right, let's talk about what's really in your food. Today, we're going to peel back the label and get into something you have almost certainly eaten, probably without giving it a second thought: food additives.
I mean, have you ever just stared at a loaf of bread from the store and wondered how on earth it stays so fresh for so long? Or, how that bottle of mayonnaise or salad dressing never separates? It really does feel like a kind of magic, doesn't it? Well, the secret isn't some kitchen wizardry. It's chemistry, plain and simple.
So, here's our game plan for this explainer. We'll start with what these things even are. Then, we'll get into why they're used in the first place, some of the red flags to watch for, how to actually read a label, and finally, how you can make smarter choices. All right, let's dive in.
Okay, so first up, what are food additives? Let's kick things off with the big question. What exactly are we talking about here?
The official definition is pretty straightforward. A food additive is basically any substance that's put into food on purpose, and the goal is usually one of two things: either to preserve it, so it lasts longer on the shelf, or to improve it somehow. Make it taste better, look prettier, or have a nicer texture.
And what's really interesting is that adding things to food is not new at all. I mean, think about it. For centuries, people have used salt to cure meat, sugar to make jams, and spices to liven things up. Those are all traditional additives. The big difference today is we've kind of shifted from the kitchen cupboard to the chemistry lab. We're talking about modern industrial chemicals, emulsifiers, stabilizers, synthetic colorants. Each one a specialized tool for a very specific job. Which brings us to our next section: the purpose of these things. You might be asking, why did the food industry go all in on additives? Well, the truth is they solve a whole lot of problems. They're like the unseen helpers in our food. And these helpers do a ton of different jobs. For instance, preservatives like calcium propionate, that's the reason your bread doesn't turn into a fuzzy green science experiment after 3 days. Then you have emulsifiers, like lecithin, which act as the ultimate peacekeeper between oil and water, making sure your mayonnaise stays perfectly creamy. Stabilizers, usually gums, are what keep your ice cream from getting all icy and weird. And of course, you've got colorants to make things look appetizing, and even added nutrients, like vitamin D in margarine or iodine in salt. Okay, so that's all the good stuff, but it's not all perfectly smooth ice cream and endlessly fresh bread. This brings us to the other side of the coin: the risks and the red flags. There's a huge debate about the safety of some of these substances, and a few have been linked to some real health concerns. So let's look at what to watch out for.
First one on the list is tartrazine. It's a very common yellow food dye. You'll find it everywhere: soft drinks, candies, even some medications. And the big concern here is it's linked to allergic reactions like asthma and rashes, and even hyperactivity, especially in children. And then there's the famous one, MSG, or monosodium glutamate. Its whole job is to enhance flavor, to give that savory umami punch to foods like chips and soup powders. Now, a lot of people eat it with no issues, but for some, it's a different story. They report symptoms like headaches, numbness, or even a racing heart.
Next up are sulfites and benzoates. These are powerful preservatives you'll find in things like fruit juices. And what's absolutely vital to know here is that for people with asthma, these specific additives can be a serious trigger, sometimes causing severe reactions. And finally, let's talk about nitrates and nitrites. These are what give cured meats like bacon and ham that signature pink color and long shelf life. The thing is, concerns have been raised that they may damage our body cells under certain conditions. So, even though they're approved, there's a definite conversation happening around their potential health impact.
All right, I know all of that can sound a little overwhelming, but here comes the good news, and it's a big one. You have the power to know exactly what's in your food. So let's get into how you can become an expert at decoding the label. This right here is the key. In many places, like in South Africa under their Foodstuffs Act, manufacturers are required by law to list every single additive. This isn't optional for them, it's regulated. That means the information is right there at your fingertips. Your most powerful tool? It's the ingredients list. And here's the pro tip for spotting them easily. Just look for an E number. Anytime you see a number starting with the letter E in the ingredients, boom, that's an additive. It's basically a code that means it's been tested and approved for use. Think of it as a universal shorthand that makes these chemicals super easy to identify. Okay, so
You know what they are, you know why they're used, and you know how to find them. The final step is taking all that awareness and putting it into action in the grocery aisle.
So here are a few things to keep in mind. Energy drinks, they're loaded with sugar and caffeine. They're not there to quench your thirst. Potato chips, designed for pure taste with flavor enhancers, but they offer pretty much zero nutritional value. Snack bars, they can be tricky. Some are basically candy bars in disguise, so you always have to compare labels. And be a little skeptical of anything screaming low calorie. That's often just code for controversial artificial sweeteners like aspartame. The real takeaway is simple. Always turn the package over and read the real story in the ingredients list.
But look, at the end of the day, navigating this world isn't just about avoiding the bad stuff. It's about actively choosing the good stuff. The advice from organizations like the Heart and Stroke Foundation is simple, but so powerful. Just focus on a diet filled with whole, unprocessed foods. Eat more fruits, more veggies, more whole grains. Choose baked over fried. It's really a philosophy of building a healthy diet from the ground up.
So we'll leave you with this final question. Knowledge is power. You now know their purpose, the risks, and how to decode the label. You're officially in the driver's seat. So, what choice will you make the next time you're at the grocery store? Because you're definitely going to be seeing those shelves in a whole new light. Thanks for tuning into this explainer.